Back when Sword and Shield's DLC came out, I didn't play the Isle of Armor until both DLCs were released, which led me to have some of the most fun in Pokemon that I've ever had. So when Pokemon announced that they'd be making a brand new DLC for Scarlet and Violet, I was hyped. I decided to take a different approach with Scarlet and Violet's DLC though, and that was by playing each one as they came out. Without spoiling myself, I went in headfirst starting off with a TL mask, and while I enjoyed my time in Kitakami, especially the ending of it, it still didn't leave a huge impression on me, and I sort of expected the Indigo Disk to follow with that, but I'll get into that in a moment. I also went with a fresh new team. In fact, a day before the DLC released, I searched for a new Pokemon to serve as a new type of starter, and I found a shiny Krogunk. And since I went in with a new team, the battles were really challenging, and it was a lot of fun to play through. The minigames were also pretty difficult, so it was just enjoyable all around, but let's get on to the main event, the Indigo Disk. Now, coming into it, I didn't know what to expect. The trailers were hyping up something pretty big, some pretty big things for it, and what new revelations it could bring to the table really piqued my interest. I also can't wait to find out what Area Zero has to do with the DLC. But here's the thing, I had to finish the Indigo Disk in 6 days, which may sound easily doable, but for me, as a person who plays Pokemon very slowly, it would prove to be a challenge. In case you don't believe me, it took me until January 2nd to beat Scarlet and Violet's main campaign, which is about 2 months from its release date. And this is all because I wanted to get out this video as soon as possible. And it normally takes me 2 weeks to edit one video, and playing it would go into the 2 weeks itself, let alone the scripting and recording that also have to go into it, so I was worried, but that wasn't going to stop me from trying. All I had to do was not waste time. First off, people were predicting that there would be a lot of connections with Unova, given it being, well, one in Unova, and also, you know, Drayton. Are we just gonna ignore that? Okay, let's just ignore that. And we also learned that Lacey's the child of one of the gym leaders. Unexpected to say the least. Literally none of the gym leaders seem like likely candidates, except, I mean, slight possibilities, but we'll have to wait and see if we could get any more information on them. And also, immediately, we get to hear some Unova songs too, and as a Gen 5 fan, this makes me really happy I lost the battle. I heard that this was going to be difficult, but this really caught me off guard. But I have a plan to get ahead, but that'll have to wait. In the meantime, I want to figure out Lacey's father, so let's look at the candidates. First off is Clay, because Extra and the Air Clip, probably the most likely, but that won't stop me from guessing about others. Bryson, honestly, I can see the dynamic between the two, oddly enough, and Drayden. My main theory is that she and Drayton are siblings from Drayden. Well, not so likely, and it doesn't really make much sense. It was my first thought when considering this, so I'm going to stick with it. But back to the main story. We get introduced to this beautiful landscape in the terrarium, which looks so picturesque. The music so far, by the way, has been spectacular. What I was especially amazed by was that the Pokemon all felt so alive. They were running around, grazing, having fun. I really enjoyed just watching them acting like themselves. I generally just enjoy looking around and exploring, and eventually, after spending far too much time doing that, I went to continue the story. I don't know why, but I am genuinely interested in learning more about all these characters and their stories. They all have striking personalities, and that makes them very entertaining. But we have to talk about the elephant in the room. Kieran, where do I even start with him? He pretty much just did a 180 on us and turned into a ruffian. I feel bad because in the previous DLC we were pretty much forced to act mean to him, but this is going to have to be something that he works on himself. Acting on jealousy is pretty unhealthy, and unfortunately he didn't know how to handle it. We'll have to put him into place, so I decided to join the league with some extra pushing from this weird guy who has to be Drayden's kid, and I took on the league. Okay, so first was Crispin, and I was really caught off guard. I tried battling him, but I realized I would have to train some more. So I did just that, while also doing some quests for battle points along the way, which as a side note is really cool, and I'm glad that they added that in. I then came back with an improved I lost again, then went back in for a third, and finally got the win. It was then I realized that there would be no pushover. But now it's time I reveal what my secret plan was to deal with the supposed difficulty of this DLC, a change in team. I originally thought I would have to go into the Indigo Disk with my team mask team that I caught and trained there, but I realized that would not work. So I caught a whole new team inside the terrarium itself. Though there's a caveat, I cannot use rare candies. That means I have to train my Pokemon myself, which hopefully will work out. It's also necessary because I want to finish the Pokedex in order to unlock whatever new photography story there is later. Next up is Lacey, who I needed to prove was in fact Drayton's sister. So I started the battle and I got demolished. It wasn't even close. I then decided that I'd be more flexible with my team because I didn't have anything super effective against fairy types. So I had a Dialga from my Legends Arceus save file. I know it's a legendary, but I didn't feel like it was too overpowered when battling them. And a shiny Lucario from the mystery gift. I lost, and then I tried again for a third time and got in my win. Ah, there we go. 3 times sure seems to be the charm here. But she won't budge in telling me who her family is, which to that I say, fair enough. I guess I'll have to beat Drayton to find out. Gotta say, these Elite Four are really challenging, so it's time to pick up the pace a bit if I want to get this video done in time. Next up is Emerus. I'm really excited for the flying mechanic, so I have even more reason to finish the story and beat some sense back into Kieran. Okay, maybe that's a bit harsh, but he does need a wake-up call with his old acting crazy shtick. I explore a bit, but at this point beating the DLC quickly had started taking a bit of a toll on me, so I barely had the patience to explore, despite how much I wanted to. I take her on knowing that I'll most definitely lose, and I beat her first try. It also looks like that they want me to win against Kieran to get them back to normalcy, so let us do this. Finally, I head off into the tundra to beat Drayton's son. Once and for all, with an attempt to reveal that indeed Lacey and Drayton are siblings. And to be Kieran, that's important too, I guess. So I demolished him. Nope, I lost. Great, this pattern again. It took me 4 tries to win, which took several team iterations, but I finally did it. And he told me absolutely nothing about his family, which, fair enough. Now it's time to put Kieran back in his place and wake him up from his rebel phase. Boom, bim, bam, done. Well, that was easy. So Kieran, are you ready to be happy? Oh great, he's gone insane. And now we're told to go to Area 0 and he wants to catch a legendary Pokemon out of his last defeat. And quite frankly, I can't imagine that happening. And my protagonist character be any more cruel? But we see some hope. Kieran's keep on slipping up with his rebellious persona and showing his wholesome side. He's trying to keep up the fake identity, meaning deep down inside he's still the same person. Which I mean, duh, but like, you get the point. But he'll need that extra little push. And I hope I won't be forced to catch Terapagos instead of him. As we go deeper and deeper into the depths of Area 0, find Terapagos' room. And Kieran unleashes Terapagos. And he also reveals his deep feelings, and Game Freak really wants us to know that we're the villains, don't they? And also in a fit of anger and distress, he master balls the Terapagos, which honestly, good for him. Like, I didn't want to catch it and take that away from him. And then he challenges us to a battle. And let me just stop here right now and tell you how annoying this fight was for me. At first it was like, okay, super easy, pretty predictable to teach Kieran that it's the strength that matters, not if the Pokemon is a legendary or not. Okay. And then you get this cool fight. Simple, right? Wrong. Number 1, you have no idea what type Terapagos is. In fact, I still don't understand the terrestrial type. Like, I'm gonna have to do some more research on that. So you basically have to figure out how to beat it each time you fight them, and then they change mid-battle too. I read somewhere that the terrestrial type doesn't change its weaknesses. I'm not sure if that's true or not, so I don't know. You guys tell me. And then number 2, there's a 60-second cutscene after you beat the first phase. And then the second phase, this Pokemon 1 or 2 hits all my Pokemon, and on rare occasions, 3 to 4 hits. Normally because of Carmen's Pokemon getting targeted instead of mine. Just to say the least, this took probably almost an hour to beat, and in the end I realized it didn't even have to take that long because all I had to do was wait like another 2 turns to use Terastallization, having completely forgotten about that. So all that time resetting because my Terastal Pokemon fainted was unnecessary, but at least it taught me a lesson I'll hopefully never forget, except I probably won't need it for the future games, but whatever. Then Kieran starts to realize his shortcomings and helps me, which was greatly appreciated. He's so nice. He gets over his complex and then asks to start over again, which to that I say no. I know, you're looking at the screen in confusion, because wasn't it me that wanted him to get back to himself? Well, of course, but he has to learn from this experience. Starting over from 0, as much as it all comes together with Area 0 and all, defeats the purpose of this experience he just went through. It sort of reminds me of when I started this video. I said the first part of the DLC didn't really make much of an impact on me, but Game Freak grew from that and fixed a lot of the issues I had with it, with very noticeable improvements and changes, at least to me. So back to his question. No, let us not start over. We're always friends, and no matter what you go through or what you experience, as long as you can grow from that, then that's all that matters. Also, I never confirmed Lacey's and Drayton's connection, so let's wait for the Unova remake. In the meantime, check out this video where I made predictions for the DLC here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Bye!